Game week is upon us here at the University of Alabama campus in Tuscaloosa as head coach Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide will take on Bobby Petrino and the Louisville Cardinals on Saturday at Camping World Stadium, Orlando, Florida. The game will be broadcasted live via ABC, the Watch ESPN app, and the ESPN family of networks. Got a chance to thumb through a number of different topics here on In My Own Words, the podcast, Touchdown, Alabama Magazine, Stephen Smith. But to end this segment of shows, three aspects here. I'm going to throw out 5 Louisville players that Alabama needs to be mindful of for this matchup. Then I'm putting 5 Crimson Tide players on the clock. These Tide players have to step up, emerge, have a big-time performance, and then last but not least, we look at predicting some games. I'm going to take 10 games. I'm going to predict 5 straight up and then 5 against the spread, so you don't want to miss that. To start this off, we have the 5 players for Louisville that Alabama must be mindful of. And at number 1, sophomore wide receiver Dez Fitzpatrick. This is the same individual that was at Cardinal Media Days back in the summer talking about Alabama doesn't defeat teams, Alabama doesn't beat players, players beat themselves, they too scared, they're nervous, they fall victim to the Alabama mystique. As long as you play Alabama like you're playing any other team, they're not anything special, they're human, just like you're human, you should be able to beat them. This exact same guy, 45 catches a season ago, 699 yards, 9 touchdowns to lead the team, averaged 15.53 yards per catch. Now, Petrino and Louisville, they've got other weapons. Jalen Smith at 6'4" is the primary guy. Seth Dawkins, 6'3", pretty darn good. But everything starts with the physicality, the emotional leader, the trash talker in Dez Fitzpatrick. That's what gets the ball going. That's the straw that stirs the drink. And for Nick Saban, defensive coordinator Tosh Lapoy, defensive back coach Carl Scott, the question is, who do those three see that will be the most comfortable fit or the most dangerous fit in lining up to defend Fitzpatrick? Whether that guy is Trayvon Diggs, who's 6'2", and has shown signs of physicality, frustrating wide receivers, or Savion Smith, who's 6'1". Could we see a mixture of Patrick Surtain, the freshman in there, 6'2", out of Florida? Whomever the guy is, that guy has got to be able to frustrate, jam, reroute, get his hands on Dez Fitzpatrick during the legal 5 to 7 yards of guarding. Make it difficult for him to catch the football, is basically what I'm saying. Make it difficult on that young man to catch the football. Because as much as quarterback Juwan Pass wants to get the ball to Jalen Smith, to Seth Dawkins, everything starts with Fitzpatrick. And if you can shut him down, you limit the productivity of Louisville's offense. He's number 1. This goes without saying. I've already mentioned his name. So at number 2, player to be mindful of, quarterback Juwan Pass, sophomore this year. As a freshman in 2017, played in 6 games, completed 23 of 33 attempts for 238 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6'4", 231 pounds, product out of Carver High School in Georgia, the number 9 dual threat quarterback in the 2016 recruiting class. He was high on Alabama. Alabama was high on him, but Pass decided to hook up with Bobby Petrino and learn from Lamar Jackson, but this is not Lamar Jackson. Jackson now in the National Football League with the Baltimore Ravens. However, the thing that Bobby Petrino wants to see, desires to see, would love to see from Pass is what he had during his time as a head coach at Arkansas. Remember his days with the Razorbacks? Petrino had Ryan Mallett and Tyler Wilson, two big-armed quarterbacks that were accurate with the football, dropping dimes to wide receivers, maneuvered the pocket with their feet, and more importantly, they knew when to take deep shots and test the opposing secondary. Can Juwan Pass stretch the field and take shots against an athletic but young Alabama secondary? That's the question. Also, will Louisville's offensive line be able to hold up? The last 2 years, abysmal. Can that group hold up against the likes of Raekwon Davis, Isaiah Buggs, Quentin Williams, Anthony Jennings, Christian Miller, Mack Wilson, Dylan Moses, who will be gunning to eat Juwan Pass alive? If the offensive line can hold its own, if Juwan Pass can hit his spots, it will be an entertaining game and closer to what the experts think, but it comes down to that offensive line keeping Juwan Pass upright and Pass hitting his spots down the field, but he's number 2. As we go to defense here for the number 3 and 4 guy for the Louisville Cardinals in terms of players to be mindful of, both of these guys linebackers. Number 3, John Greenert, returning junior. 48 tackles a season ago, 15 and a half of those for loss to lead the team, 7 sacks to lead the team, 6 quarterback hurries. He is the anchor, the control center of this defense under a journeyman coordinator in Brian Ben-Gorder. You need John Greenert to step up in this football game. If there's a lot of misdirection being ran his way, if Alabama's able to pound the ball, running directly at him, neutralize him, get him out of his element, it's going to be a long day for the Cardinals, because after Greenert, you have Dorian Etheridge, the second linebacker here, coming to a sophomore season. He led the team in tackles with 83 a season ago, 3 of those for loss and 2 pass breakups, but we're talking 2 still young linebackers leading this group. Louisville does not have a real established, 10, 15 sacks of a pass rusher. Louisville does not have an established guy in the secondary. It lost Jair Alexander to the NFL draft. He got picked up by the Green Bay Packers. It lost Tremaine Washington and Chucky Williams to the league. So this is a young Cardinal defense. And if you, being the Alabama Crimson Tide, can neutralize, negate, limit John Greenert, Dorian Etheridge, both linebackers, take them out of their element, it's going to be a long day for the Cardinals. But those guys, Greenert number 3, Dorian Etheridge number 4. Number 5, got to go on special teams here. Junior place kicker Blanton Creek. And the only reason why I have the place kicker here in Blanton Creek, going back to what I mentioned about the likes of Juwan Pass for the offensive line, if Louisville's able to put up points and keep it close, and if Louisville's defense is able to get some stops against Alabama, create some turnovers, that type of ordeal, Alabama gets uncharacteristic with the football, then you have Blanton Creek, the junior, left-footed kicker, one of the more consistent guys in college football. Last year, 17 of 20 on field goals, 85%. He connected on 14 straight kicks last year before missing against Florida State. For his career, 84.6% on field goals. The guy is automatic. 33 of 39, which is a school record. If the game's close, Blanton Creek gives Louisville a chance. The game has to be close to do that, though. He's number 5. Running through this list again, ladies and gentlemen, the names Alabama players must be mindful of in terms of Louisville. They don't have a lot in the cupboard, but here are the names again. Number 1, wide receiver Dez Fitzpatrick. Probably the deepest, most talented part of that team, the wide receiver core. But the trash talker in Dez Fitzpatrick stirs the drink. Number 1. Number 2, Jawan Pass, quarterback. Number 3, John Greener, linebacker. Number 4, Dorian Etheridge, linebacker. Number 5, Blanton Creek, place kicker. Going to a break here on In My Own Words. When we get back, it's like I mentioned, giving you the 5 Alabama players I have on the clock that must emerge, play huge in this football game. It's game week. You're locked and loaded to In My Own Words, the podcast. And folks, we're coming back.